I'm here in the main activity code, which is over here in the Java folder. You can see here that our main activity extends AppCompat activity. AppCompat activity is a subclass of Android that gives us access to modern Android features while providing backwards compatibility with older versions of Android. Functionally, what you should always do is use AppCompat activity to make your app available to the largest number of devices and users possible. Now, many programming languages use a main method that defines where the program starts. Android applications, though, don't have a main method. Instead, as we discussed before, if you look over here in the Android manifest, it defines the main activity as the launching point for your application. To launch an activity, the OS uses the information in the manifest file to set up the environment for the app and construct the main activity. Then the main activity will do its own setup. Activities do not use a constructor to do their setup. Instead, a series of predefined methods are called as part of setup. One of these methods is onCreate, which you will always override. And here, you can see an example of that. In onCreate, you'll need to specify which layout is associated with the activity, and you'll also need to inflate it. The setContentView method does both of these things. This here is the layout the activity will inflate, and then draw to the screen. If I were to remove this line, I can still run my app, but you'll notice that the Hello World message has disappeared. That's because the code never actually set up our layout, so right now it's displaying a completely empty layout. Alright, let's bring back that line of code. Speaking of layout, let's go ahead and take a look at what this layout file here looks like. Going back to the project pane, I'm going to go over into the res folder. Layout files are in the layout folder. I'll open up activity_main.xml. The layout defines the elements of our design, their position, and their properties. In Android, these elements are called views. There are many different types of views, including text views, buttons, image views, checkboxes, and more. The views themselves are defined by the tags that we see here, and the properties of those views are defined by the attributes that are inside of those tags. In our Dice Roller app, for example, we have a text view tag here, which says that there's going to be some text on screen, and then, as to what that text actually is, we have this attribute here that says the text will be Hello World. This text view is nested in another type of view called a constraint layout. You now know enough to try an experiment. I'm going to try changing what text appears on screen. So instead of saying Hello World, I'll change this to say Hello Android. I know it's a little bit small, but you should see this new text show up in the app.